Alright, y'all. I've had it with this dude. Dreamcast Guy's at it again, screaming into his webcam about how Xbox is apparently the devil. He's acting like Game Pass. Burn his house down. Let's react and correct this nonsense in real time. Let's go.
Hey there, gamers, DreamcastGuy here. Today we're talking about Xbox because they just released a statement admitting that they have been...
Already? They've been lying, bro. You act like you've uncovered Watergate. Calm down. You read a PDF and started breathing heavy.
lying. They have lied hundreds of podcasts, interviews, every statement by Phil Spencer. It is all completely made up. The bedrock of Xbox is Game Pass, this big experiment that they basically said...
Oh no, not the hundreds of podcast conspiracy again. This guy makes it sound like Phil Spencer is part of the Illuminati, bro. Ugh.
Instead of trying to charge you $60 or $70 for a game, not $80 for a game, instead you get big full of players to chip in smaller, $8, $20, right? The Game Pass subscription, and then that big pool of cash, Xbox uses it to buy developers, to fund games, to basically break even. And since the very start, Phil Spencer has said on camera, like that.
Phil Spencer said Game Pass was profitable based on the reporting. That's not lying. That's how corporate accounting works. Dreamcast Guy just doesn't know what a quarterly report is.
Thousands of times, Game Pass is profitable. Don't worry about closures, don't worry about layoffs, don't worry about these strict restrictions. We want our developers to be free to make the games they want. They just admitted Game Pass has never been profitable. Since the very start...
So now you're justified because of a one line and a statement. That's not proof, bro. That's you cherry picking a stat to stroke your own ego. This mother.
Game Pass has been geysering cash, and I feel so justified. I have to admit this.
Did he show his controller yet? Like he does in every damn video?
Talking about the unprofitability of this. And console people say, when Xbox Live, Xbox claims it's making money. Look,
Xbox Live. Hey, it's great day. Does it feel like it's great already?
It is wild to just finally see them say this out here, but Phil Spencer and Satya Nadella and Microsoft have been lying to their investors and shareholders. They kept saying,
lying to shareholders? That's a felony, genius. You think Microsoft is risking federal time just to keep your favorite console looking bad?
Game Pass is profitable.
Good lord.
It wasn't. They simply did not count the cost of first-party games and budgets. Only the fees paid to third parties in marketing. Do you read that? They literally...
Oh my god.
This is so psychotic. The games are profitable if you pretend they're free. Like legitimate. How many hundreds of millions of dollars did they...
The games are profitable if you pretend they're free, bro. You pretend you're a journalist, so I guess we're even now. Wet turd Starfield, cute insult, man. Cute. Very, very cute. What are you playing? That 480p copy of Resident Evil 4 again? Half your channel is rage baiting games you never finish.
Beyond even the marketing and stuff, Bethesda is a massive studio. They funded that development for years and years. How many of these games are just costing tons? Gears of War E-Day, the next Forza, Halo, Infinite, right? Those games are not...
Look how cute this is. So small.
To upkeep, to dev, to make. They're saying they're profitable if their games don't cost money to make. They're literally... Everybody was like, bro, so all these years where Xbox fanboys pointed to Phil Spencer claiming Game Pass is profitable as the most sensible people.
I can't stand this guy, by the way.
We're skeptical of flat out...
If you haven't noticed.
Turns out it's because Phil conveniently left out the single most expensive aspect of Game Pass. The whole idea of Game Pass is straight up that. It's, yes, sometimes there is third-party deals, stuff like...
He keeps crying about cost, but ignores context. Game Pass has 35 million subs. The scale makes up for the budgets. But sure, let's ignore math and run your feelings instead. Just run your feelings, not the math.
What they did with Expedition 33, they reached out to the devs and said, we want this day one on Game Pass. And they go, okay, pay us $1 million or whatever, right? They are only counting that in their record books. They're claiming that all their games didn't cost money. Now, already, I've seen some Xbox fanboys trying to defend
Xbox?
oh, Xbox Division is separate from Xbox Game Pass. But nobody would have assumed that. If I'm looking at Netflix technically sells DVDs. You can buy, like, Stranger Things Season 8, whatever the hell that show's on.
Netflix analogy does not work, Chief. Netflix doesn't have hardware, doesn't do physical media, and isn't bundled with an OS. This is why nobody takes your comparisons seriously. Seriously.
You buy that on DVD, right? But you know that when Netflix talks about profitability, they're talking about the total amount to make shows, to produce them, to put them out. They're not talking about the profitability of the DVDs separate from the cost of putting out the shows themselves. They purposely have been lying to claim to investors, yeah man, this is still a good idea. The Game Pass experiment is definitely still worth investing in. Every day the news gets worse and more bleak. The Game Pass revelations are insane. It makes me feel that they never ended up acquiring the likes of Sega, Square Enix, and WB, or many of the other publishers they're linked to. Oh my god, dude, this is the best point. There has been talks about somebody trying to buy out WB. If they bought them, they would just lay everybody...
Sega would have been gutted. You don't know that. You're just making up doomsday fan fiction because it gets clicks. That's all you're doing, buddy.
It's weird about the fact that Sega has grown a lot in the last couple of years. The success of Persona, obviously they're jointly working with Atlas, all this stuff with Yakuza, on top of the explosive popularity of stuff like Sonic Frontiers. They would have gutted it. They would have said, sorry, Sonic Frontiers isn't profitable enough because it doesn't get this.
Yeah, sure.
You all get the axe. I guarantee it. All the replies. What?
He guarantees it, guys.
Bleak about this. Why would they count their own games? A single month of 35 million subscribers theoretically pays for a whole year of development at AAA, a game that takes 3 to 5 years. They've already announced they're spending approximately $1 billion a year for Game Pass. You really don't understand how much they're spending on development. Yeah. So one of the specific numbers that Xbox themselves keeps kicking around is we have 40 games in development. They keep saying that. We have 40 games in development. Let's assume most of those probably AA or single. Only a couple of those are big AAA. But let's say even 25%. Let's say even 25% of those are big AAA games. That still means billions and billions of dollars of investment on this 35 million subscribers. Are you really trying to tell me this somehow is breaking even? I truly don't believe it. Now, I had to put this in here because this does actually check me. Colin Moriarty got absolutely flooded with hate. He did a video a couple of years ago where he pretty much went into the math and basically calculated it out and said, okay, how much subscribers do they really need to have?
35 million subscribers, but this guy still says it's not working. Like, what are we doing here? If Xbox cured cancer, you'd cry that it wasn't on PS5.
Let's just sort of try to figure out exactly what it costs, roughly what these games are having, and how much are they selling, how much does it take to break even. And he basically said, not only are they in the red, they are deep in the red, and he got flooded with hate for, I think to this day, he still gets flooded with hate. And I have to admit that. I like the fact that he said, what?
Colin doing it back of a napkin math doesn't make him a prophet. He made a guess, got lucky, and now y'all act like he predicted the apocalypse, bro. It's ridiculous.
You gotta give the guy credit. It is absolutely.
No, shut the up with that cheesy ass fake laugh, bro.
Bill says every studio needs to be profitable by themselves. Games, microtransactions, selling legacy games, coalition helping other studios. There is way too many variables to give this. Oh, this is it. I feel like people are still trying to defend this, but to me it's so black.
Your mom.
They lied to you because it's very obvious that from the very start, the point of Xbox hasn't been about selling games. It's unfortunately made for Microsoft to have an extra investment branch. I mean, it never explained.
Phil said studios should be profitable. Cool. That doesn't mean Xbox is broke. It means they're done babysitting underperformers. That's business.
Explicitly stated, but they make trillions of dollars. Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Windows, but they've always had the idea that their company looks bigger and looks more profitable, but they also have a physical distribution, actual first-party games, selling controllers and stuff. This makes them...
There's his controller he always shows. Every fucking video he has to show his fucking controller. It drives me up the wall. Oh my god! Xbox is just a portfolio flex from Microsoft? You're pulling stuff out of thin air. Next he's going to say Phil Spencer is an alien from Saturn.
Profitable in the eyes of investors. But now, with the Game Pass experiment just gushing money down the street, I think a lot of those investors are starting to turn that eye of Sauron and say,
don't even, bro.
Wait, why are we paying?
The Eye of Sauron line is pretty corny, but you know what? It's fitting. Because you sound like Golem when someone says anything positive about Xbox.
For you to piss this down the drain, why are we investing for you to buy $80 billion studios like Activision Blizzard that just put out stuff third-party anyways? Game Pass was never going to break even. I hate to be that guy, but I was right. Obviously, I was right. Everybody was right. Everybody was trying to defend it years ago. It was so obviously wrong. Well, thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a good day.
Oh, Lord, man. Good Lord. You know he ran out of steam when he started talking about chicken and rice. Dude's been yelling for 8 minutes straight, then ends it with a sad meal prep.
If you could, please.
Mood swing content! Dreamcast Guy's whole video was just a victory lap based on one earnings breakdown, okay? And most of his takes are still off. You want to hate Xbox? Go ahead. But don't fake receipts. And bro, if you're eating sad chicken and rice every day, maybe spend less time screaming and more time touching grass. Hit that like button and comment down below. I cannot watch this guy anymore. We are done here.